Hello everyone, and welcome to Zoomies. Today we'll be talking about a very big topic that's generating a lot of buzz in social media, and that is basically the use of cannabis in your pet. Is it safe? What are the potential benefits? And what does the science say? Let's talk about it. Firstly, why would someone even want to use cannabis oil if there is readily available, well-researched, long-standing medications available? Here are some of the common reasons for why people would opt for this. The number one reason in my experience for why people resort to this is for pain alleviation. A lot of times this is made out of desperation for people trying to seek pain alleviation for their pets, especially in chronic conditions like arthritis and injury-related discomfort. Another massive reason is for a change in quality of life. Owners are trying to avoid certain types of medication and would rather use the natural alternative as they think it might be better for their animal's health. A lot of my patients also use cannabis oil, especially in issues like cancer, especially in these situations where prognoses are poor. We've kind of exhausted all other alternatives, and the prescribed medication or treatment is not working sufficiently. And last but certainly not least is people are resorting to cannabis as a form of stress or anxiety alleviation. A great number of our pets actually suffer from phobias, especially noise phobias and separation anxiety, and owners are resorting to cannabis oil for the calming effect that it's supposed to have and as shown in humans. From what research actually shows us, it's actually shown that cannabis should not be used in isolation, but should actually be used as an adjunctive treatment or part of a treatment protocol, especially in cases where some of patients are suffering from arthritis or pain associated discomfort. Because it's important to understand that cannabis in itself has not been proven to show any sort of pain alleviation or discomfort that is superior to anything else that is more readily available. And a lot of the times the dosage that is required for said effects is actually so high that you actually run into more side effects compared to using commercially available drugs. With regards to the phobias and anxiety, there have been some studies to suggest that this calming effect does actually work. However, this is yet to be solidified in research. And of course, there may be superior alternatives available. So what makes us as veterinarians okay with the idea of allowing people to use cannabis in their pets? Firstly, I just have to say, at the end of the day, this is your pet. This is your patient as much as it is mine. You are entitled to give your pet anything that you feel may help. I am only here to give the information so that you make informed decisions. And I always feel that as long as your heart is in the right place, you follow said guidelines and you play it safe, the odds of you running into issues is minimal. With regards to the cancer alleviating effects of cannabis, there have actually been no studies to suggest that cannabis has any sort of anti-neoplastic or anti-cancer properties, except for one small group of cancer cells to be shown in humans to be effective called glial cells, but this is yet to be studied in animals. This diagnosis of glial cells is so rare in animals and is in any way isolated to the brain, which makes diagnosis extremely difficult. When it comes to the pain-killing effect that CBD has been shown to have, you have to weigh out the pros, the cons, the superior to the inferior. Is the pain-killing effect that the cannabis is alleviating your animal of more so than the potential side effects or risks that it is bringing along? And another factor that you need to consider is, are these negative or potential negative side effects less than something that you would get from a more commercially available or readily available pharmaceutical agent? Because I feel purely making the argument of that it is natural and therefore implying that it is safer than a human or pharmaceutical grade medication is short-minded. Just because something is natural does not make it safe. How about cyanide? Cyanide is natural and very lethal. But of course, that being said, anything can be lethal at the adequate dose. And a massive risk factor that has actually been brought up with cannabis oil that has been shown and proven in humans is the psychotic effect that it has. These psychotic effects are extremely difficult to study, both in humans and even more difficult in animals. And here is where I pose a question to you. An aggressive dog breed that has pain from arthritis is prescribed CBD oil from a veterinarian. Said dog has no history of aggression towards any humans. One day, the dog is let loose in the yard and bites a small child. And here we need to ask two questions. Did the dog bite the child because of the psychotic effect of the CBD oil that was prescribed by the veterinarian to the owner? Or did the dog bite the child regardless? Kids get bitten all the time. Humans get bitten all the time by dogs, especially in aggressive dog breeds. Not to imply that on the individual basis that it's an issue, but overall, I'm not expecting an answer from this. I'm simply playing devil's advocate to prove a point. But one thing that people need to understand is that cannabis is by no means a modern or new medication that is being brought to the market. This is actually a very old medication that was well documented and studied in the 1960s and has actually been really available ever since. However, with the change in the modern era, with the legalization of the use of cannabis oil, it is way more readily available in the open market. And some pharmaceutical companies have actually started standardizing CBD oil as to be prescribed to patients. So I want to ask a question to you that you can post down below. Do you use cannabis oil in your pet, and what for? And how's it helping you? The entire purpose of this video was not to debunk cannabis oil, but to merely show you that science has not shown the efficacy of cannabis oil yet, and we will need to wait for future studies to approve it or wait for anecdotal information. And that wraps it up for today. Remember to consult your veterinarian before giving any sort of medication. In my experience, most vets are very generous with the advice that they give, but can be short-minded about things that they don't know, or they can be very open to try new things. At the end of the day, it is your pet and your responsibility to know what you're doing, what are you giving to your animals, understanding why it is given, sticking to the dosage, and preparing for the potential side or negative effects. If you did like this video, give me a like, a thumbs up, press the bell icon, leave a comment down below, as I said, for your use of CBD oil, and until next time, cheers.